Board of Water Supply, keeping Oahu refreshed for 90 years. You don't have to go to extremes to save water. For easy water-saving tips, visit boardofwatersupply.com.
Okay, so today is September 23rd, 2019. Because there is no quorum, we will not be taking action, so there are no items for action. So we're going to go down to items of information. And the first item of 3 is the Board of Water Supply Hawaii Electronic Procurement System. Chair recognizes Catherine Jean Hoffman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to present today. I wanted to share with you some exciting information about a new step that the board has taken in September on its procurement endeavors. So as of September 3rd, 2019, the Board of Water Supply has launched its notification page on the Hawaii Electronic Procurement System, otherwise known as HEPS. On this page, the board will be posting all of its solicitations for constructions and goods and services pursuant to 103D 302 Hawaii Revised Statutes, which are the requests for bids, and 103D-303, which is the requests for proposals. The professional service solicitations, sole source, and exemptions will still be posted on the Board of Water Supply's procurement website. So just a brief overview, HEPS is an online e-procurement system which allows for electronically automating and managing government agency buying and selling process. It's hosted by a third-party vendor called SciCommNet. SciCommNet is a California-based company that has been around since 1998. SciCommNet also hosts e-procurement sites for the city of Albuquerque and within the state of Hawaii for the Department of Education and the University of Hawaii. So prior to September 3rd when we launched this, the board had several notification projects in the works so that we could notify our current vendors of this transition. I wanted to show you some of them today. So this is the Board of Water Supply's procurement website. We've added a new page on the right-hand side called the HEPS page, and we've posted some information there. We've also set out to post a notification under construction and goods and services. So this notification tells our current vendors that we've transitioned over to the HEPS site. There's also a notification under goods and services. Notices were also sent to the General Contractors Association, the Building Industry Association of Hawaii, the American Council of Engineering Companies of Hawaii, with requests that they distribute that notification to their members. And we also notified the city council members and the mayor's office of this transition. So some of the aids that we've done on this notification is under this HEPS page on the Board of Water Supply site, it does make the announcement that as of September 3rd, we've transitioned to a new e-procurement system. We've also created 3 training videos to help our vendors to make sure that they can register to participate on the HEPS site, how to modify their profiles if they've already got a login to the HEPS site, and how to submit bids and responses through the HEPS system. So just a brief example. This one video shows how to register.
Vendor supplier contractor training video, a 3-part series. Part 1 is for vendor registration. Part 2 is for managing your account profiles. And Part 3 is submitting a response. If you are not registered in the Hawaii Electronic Procurement System, or HEPS, you need to do so in order to participate with the Board of Water Supply's procurement solicitations for the goods and services your company provides. To register, go to the homepage for SciCommNet, which is www.scicom.net, and click on the link in the top right-hand corner that says Vendor Registration. At the vendor registration page, it identifies 7 steps that you'll be taking. What's important to start your registration is that you have your company federal tax ID or social security number and Hawaii GE tax license available. Click on the button.
So if anybody can come to our website, these 3 videos will be posted, and we don't intend to take them down. So they can help vendors. There's also a 1-800 number that they can reach to SciCommNet if they're having difficulties getting their logins. And one of the unique features of HEPS is that when a vendor creates their login, they need to create a profile in which they're selecting different commodity codes of the goods and services that they are interested in being notified when solicitations that involve those goods and services are posted. And there's over 900 different commodity codes, and automatic emails are sent out to vendors when we post those solicitations. So when we post a solicitation, we also need to identify which commodity codes are relevant to those solicitations. Along with the notifications that we sent to the local agencies and on our website, SciCommNet also partnered with us to send out email notifications to all of the vendors that had logins on their site, which was over 90,000 vendors, and 2,000 vendors that had current logins on the Board of Water Supply procurement site. So we did quite a comprehensive campaign to let everybody know that we were transitioning to this site. So I'd like to be able to take you to the site now. So any of the live links that say Basic SciCommNet will take you to what is the Board of Water Supply's current notification page on HEPS. And this is what it looks like. We have 7 solicitations that are currently posted, one of which is the security fencing at Ho'ai'ai Wells. So one of the unique features also of this is that you can come to this site, which is the Board of Water Supply site, and you don't need to log in. So any member of the public can come here and see what solicitations that we have posted at a glance. And if they want to see further information than what they can see right here, they just click here to preview. And you would do just a short sign-in. And from this, they're able to see the entire solicitation for this one particular project. So it shows you the basic information of the title and short description. It tells you right up front here when the bids are due, and it gives you a countdown of the number of days and hours you still have left. This date of service is an approximation. It's not the exact date. That's to be determined once the award process is done and a notice to proceed is issued. Contact person is always the procurement office for the Board of Water Supply, so any questions about this solicitation would be submitted to the procurement office, and we would forward it on to the respective department whose solicitation this is. These first set of documents are standard documents that are applicable to all of our construction solicitations. So they include the general terms of conditions, acknowledgement of third-party liability, instructions to bidders. The next set of instructions are standard instructions applicable to all solicitations. These are generally instructions on how to submit bids back through the system, how to upload attachments, how to view attachments, download attachments. There's also a notification here, which is the transaction fees. So the SciCommNet site is hosted by SciCommNet, and all of the fees for it to maintain and provide customer service are obtained through awards made by the respective agencies. So the awarding contractor for any of our solicitations is subject to a 0.725% transaction fee with a cap of $5,000. So all of the services that SciCommNet provides are paid for by our vendors and the DOE and the University of Hawaii. The additional documents that we have specific to this site, to this solicitation, are found further down. So these are the supporting bid documents for this, the proposal, plans and specifications. These are all specific to this particular project. The only thing that a vendor cannot do by this login is actually respond to this solicitation. In order to do that, they would actually have to log in through the SciCommNet site to be able to see the boxes where they can submit a bid back to us. And all bids are submitted through the site so that we do not continue to accumulate paper and need file space. One of the things I also wanted to show you was, as I told you, when a vendor signs up for a login, they register with commodity codes. Right off the bat, if you were to click this, this shows you how many initial emails went out once this solicitation was actually posted. So it tells you, some of these are repeat. When you can see the company has more than one, that means more than one person from their company has a login. But on this particular solicitation, there was a total of 1,547 email notifications sent out as soon as we posted this solicitation, indicating to these vendors that this solicitation has a commodity code that they may have an interest in. And whenever we post an update to this solicitation, which includes addendums or when bid results are due, these same vendors are going to get an email notification. So overall, this is a giant step for the Board of Water Supply. It's going to give us a much broader nationwide notification system so that we can increase competitiveness and transparency for all of our solicitations. There's also no question as to the timing of responses through this. Everything is date stamped by SciCommNet when vendors look at them. Whenever a vendor opens a document or downloads it, SciCommNet records that on their side. So should we ever need that documentation, if a protest comes in, SciCommNet is able to easily generate that for us. And so with that, that concludes my presentation unless anybody has questions.
Do you have any questions of Catherine?
Just any questions?
I just want to make some comments about their effort. From beginning to end, this process took 5 weeks to implement. I want to recognize Catherine Hoffman and her team and Mr. Dwayne Kashiwai, who's formerly with the Department of Education. He actually started the system for the DOE for their hundreds of millions of dollars in construction projects that they do each year. I also want to recognize Jason Takaki of the Capital Projects Division and his team because they also had to work hard to adjust what they would do to get a solicitation out. So I think this is a really big step forward to creating greater visibility for our projects, maybe the opportunity for greater competition and better pricing for our customers. Because there are sometimes, when we put the bid on our website, we don't know how many people are actually looking at this site. This is actually proactively pushing notices out to, like Catherine pointed out, 1,000 people for that one security fencing project. And you can see from that list, there was a lot of Hawaii-based people getting the email, or Hawaii-based companies getting the email. This system is used extensively by the DOE and also by the University of Hawaii. We were very fortunate participating with the procurement. So the Superintendent of Education approved our participation and use of HEPS for BWS. So we just want to express our appreciation for DOE. It'll also, like Catherine pointed out, reduce the opportunity for protest over, I sent my bid in, didn't you receive it? Now it's done electronically through the system, so there's no doubt. And also when the bids close and the deadline comes, no other bids can actually come in. So it's going to create a whole audit trail on the process. It is also, like Catherine pointed out, at no cost to the BWS. So the companies that register to use the system, when they get awarded a project, they pay a fee to SciCommNet with a cap of $5,000. Beyond that, there's no cost to the BWS for using the system. And the system was procured correctly through the 103D process, the procurement code. So just want to thank again Kathy, her team, and Capital Projects Division. Our intent is to use this for all construction and all goods and services going forward. So, good job.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I got a couple. So great job. Always good to technologically, advance. There's a couple of questions. So I'm taking the next logical step here. So increasing visibility, would that sort of help with encumbrances and encumbering our CIP project budgets? Will there be any? Hopefully,
It
hopefully
helps to make
increase.
the process more efficient, so we can get more out. If there are still issues related to like obtaining permits, so we can go forward with the project, or if the bid, the bid amount we'll find out after this process is complete. If the budgets, if the project bids are over budget, we need to find other funds to get the project output. At least in terms of making the procurement process more efficient, yes, the system will become more efficient for us to process these bids more efficiently, given the staff of our procurement office. Catherine, you want to add anything?
Oh, that,
But we're projecting an increase in number of bids overall because it's now more visible and,
That is our hope, yeah.
yeah, we
The
hope.
greater
yeah.
visibility, more companies actually becoming aware of our projects, and more companies interested in submitting bids.
Okay, good,
and
good.
it also will increase the competition because potentially subcontractors are also signing up for logins, and they can see which of the general subs, because that list of vendors that I showed you is open for anybody to see. So a subcontractor that has a specialty service that's interested in partnering with a general can look at that list and see which general contractors have received the notification and reach out to them to say they'd be interested in partnering with them.
Kathy, how long has the system been used by the DOE?
The DOE, in the contract that we are participating in was since 2015, but prior to that, DOE was already using HEPS, and I believe since the early 2000s. And originally, actually, when the State Procurement Office started their e-procurement system, they started with HEPS, but they were using it only for goods. And DOE, once the State Procurement Office resolicited and selected a new vendor, Department of Education partnered up with SciCommNet to transition it more for a construction module.
Okay, good. So, the license, speaking of the license, is it with, are we licensing from DOE or SciComm?
We are participating in a contract with SciCommNet through a cooperative agreement with Department of Education.
Okay,
So when Department of Education initially solicited requests for proposals, they did indicate that the University of Hawaii and the Board of Water Supply would be participating agencies in the contract.
I see. And what's the term of the contract? How long is it for?
The initial term is a 3-year term from 2015 through 2018 with three-year extensions, so a total of 6 years added on to it.
Okay, so we're in this,
The second
Second
extension
term.
of 3 years, yes.
Okay,
And if DOE goes out again to resolicit, we'll probably make the request to sign a cooperative agreement with them to participate with them rather than going out on our own.
okay, that's all I have. Members, any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the next item is a status update of groundwater levels at all index stations. Chair recognizes Mr. Barry Usagawa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. For August, we have one index well that, I can read this better than my notes. So one index level, one index well in low groundwater, that's Kaimuki, it's in Caution. Caution is the highest level of water level in our low groundwater status. Below that would be alert and critical. So it's just into the Caution. It's largely because the pumpage has reached 152 million gallons per day, which is, and I'll go into that a little bit later. The rainfall for August was 55% of normal, and the 5-month moving average is 84. So we're in this drying trend through the summer months. the drought monitor shows abnormally dry to moderate drought conditions. This is one of the lower levels of the drought monitor. And then the monitoring wells are showing decreasing trends because of increased pumpage. So let me show you that. Okay, this is Kaimoki. The water level here is just under the top line, which is caution, so it's at about 23 feet. These index wells are monitored so that we understand how the health of the aquifer, and it allows us to adjust our operations and our conservation program messaging around that. But our rules and regs allow for 3 index wells to be in low groundwater before we can recommend a low groundwater condition to the board, and so we're not close to that at all. But you can see all of these monitoring wells have showing a downward trend. So it's basically when pumpage goes up, water levels goes down. The more you pump, the lower the water levels get. They're all showing about the same decrease. And you see the rainfall in July and August is below normal. Normal is this 100 line here is index. In June, we had a high rainfall month, and I think that was due more to storms that came in, but that helped. This is the pumpage. So 152 is slightly above our 5-year monthly average, which is these boxes here. It's certainly not the highest pumpage we've experienced. Over the course of what I remember, I think the highest was 180 million gallons per day. So 150, we used to average 150s before, but because of conservation efforts, we're down in the 140s now. But anyway, the pumpage went up, and so what happens then is water levels goes down, but also when we start to pump more, we're putting more energy into the system, and it creates more stress on pipes, which is the lead into the next presentation. But if you just keep those relationships in mind, we did have record high temperatures experienced throughout the state, actually, from April. A number of high temperature records have been broken on Oahu and Maui. So when the temperature goes up, people irrigate more, take more showers, the water demand goes up, water levels goes down, and more stress is on our pipe. So that's the interrelationship. That's my report. If you have any questions.
Members, any questions? Okay, moving on to the next item is item number 3. We have our water main repair report for August 2019. Chair recognizes Mr. Mike Fouquet.
Good afternoon, Chair and Dye, members of the board. As Barry said, last month was a hot. Our pumpage was higher, which in turn resulted in the most main breaks I can ever recall for a month. We have 57 main breaks, and our fuel crews are really at it. The average time took us to repair for the 4, 6, and 8 was 15 hours. For the 12 was 28 hours, and the 16 was 35. And our leak detection surveyed approximately 21 miles. Going back to the 57 main breaks, as I said, it's the most I've seen, and I think the basic cause for the high number, as Barry said, is because our pumpage went up. We put more stresses on our pipe. As Barry said, we did 152 million gallons of pumpage. Rainfall was 55% of normal. And also, during the first 5 days in August, we were preparing for Hurricane Flossie coming in. Again, we're under the threat that Flossie may come directly at us, so we were preparing our system, so we're pumping a little bit more to keep our reservoir levels on the higher end. And unfortunately, we also had about 13 main breaks between August 1st and the 5th. Some of the things we observed at our main breaks, 27 of our main breaks, we observed that we had corrosion, degradation of the pipe, possibly because we were pumping a little bit more and a little more stress on the pipe, these corrosion areas started to fail. 16 of the mains that broke are currently in either design or program for construction, or is future program for replacement. And the number of main breaks shows the importance of us meeting our goal of replacing 21 miles per year. It's a goal I think that we got to hit. Hopefully the 57 main breaks is not a trend. Hopefully it goes back down to what we've seen in the past. Okay. Any questions?
How's September looking?
September.
Another
Knock
week
on
or so.
wood, I think we're gonna be, definitely not in the 50s, that's for sure.
Although there's still a few days left.
still got a few
let's,
days.
Let's be very careful how we comment on that.
Okay.
It's been tough on the fuel crews, but, 57 main breaks comes almost like 2 breaks a day, and we've been struggling.
Yeah.
So let me understand the relationship between the increased pumpage and the increased number of breaks. Is it the change in the increase in pumpage that might have caused this, or is it just
Well,
pumping it at that level naturally caused it?
I think, so when you pump more water and your pipe is only a certain size, as you pump more water, it takes more force, more pressure to move a larger amount of water through the same pipe, same sized pipe. That's because of what they call friction. You have to fight the friction on the pipe, resisting the flow of water through the pipe. Pressure, increased pressure from pumping could be a factor here. It may not be just the only factor. We are exploring other things such as how fire hydrants are operated in the system by both city personnel or by contractors in the system. And if that correlated with some of the breaks, we did look at the occurrence of fires. There was quite a bit of fire activity on our island during the month of August. But we haven't found a clear linkage to the large number of breaks to the fires. Although there may have been 1 or 2 instances that where a fire stressed the system of that location by the operation of fire hydrants and large amounts of water moving there that caused the break. So I think it's a little unclear yet on the factors that led to this. Although if you look down the list, Mike, if you scroll through the list, a lot of this is cast iron pipe. Cast iron being some of our older pipe in the system. So the age and condition of the pipeline, the rut, corrosion issues could be a factor here too. Hopefully we don't repeat this. We'll have to watch it very closely. If it does continue to be a trend month after month, then we're going to have to reevaluate our CIP program to see if we need to actually start to implement pipeline replacement a little bit more aggressively a little earlier. Mike, can I add anything else?
Yeah, the corrosion observation is mostly on the cast iron pipe. It is on the cast iron pipe, so.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right, members, any questions? Is there any further business today? Okay, hearing none, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our mission at the Honolulu Board of Water Supply is to provide Oahu with safe, dependable, and affordable water now and into the future. A big part of what we do is educating the community about the importance of saving water through our annual Water Conservation Week poster and poetry contests. Each year, the students are great at answering the call. Our judges are always impressed with the thousands of vivid pieces of artwork as well as poems that demonstrate why saving water is important and why our water resources are precious to them. Education is a cornerstone of our outreach program, whether it's checking for leaks or water conservation in general. BWS takes time to be a part of the community and talking to people one-on-one. Preserving our water resource is everyone's kuleana. We offer outreach programs for the keiki all the way up to the kupuna. Our employees work together to come up with creative activities that demonstrate what the BWS does each and every day to pump millions of gallons of water and deliver it to where it is needed. These hands-on activities highlight how preserving our water resource is everyone's kuleana. Begin your journey to water conservation by joining the Board of Water Supply. BWS has career opportunities in customer care, information technology, field operations, and for civil, electrical, and mechanical engineers. To find current job openings, go to bwsjobs.com.
water-saving tips, visit boardofwatersupply.com.
Every drop of water is part of a journey. It begins as water vapor that falls to earth as rain. For the next 25 years, it's filtered through volcanic rock. At last, it arrives at its final destination. Really? Can somebody come fix this?
When it comes to water, don't waste a drop.